All right, how's everybody today? Doing good? Okay, it's Friday, getting closer to spring break, but we are also getting closer to the due date for your IA. We have less than 2 weeks, so if there's any last minute questions, anything you need, please let me know. Of course, yesterday I decided to go ahead and push everything back because we had a lot of absences in the class yesterday. So hope everybody's doing okay, whatever the situation was. I don't know if it was IB or whatever the case. It was what? One act theater. Okay, there you go. Okay. But today we are not going to be taking the quiz. We're going to go ahead and work on the exit ticket after we do the focus activity. And then we'll kind of see, how much time is left. If it's a decent amount of time, we'll go ahead and start trig. If not, we'll wait until Monday and we'll do that along with the quiz. Okay. So any questions? The quiz is going to be over linear functions and quadratic functions. The exit ticket today, I believe I just made it over a linear function and writing all the different forms of a line. Okay, so nothing too bad. All right, so let's see what we got here. Focus activity number 2. It costs an appliance manufacturer $12,000 to set up the machinery to produce a new line of toaster. Following this initial setup cost, every 100 toasters produced will cost a further $1,000. The toasters are sold to a distributor for $25 each. Okay, so we're going to be coming up with a couple of different equations here. First up, A, determine the cost of production function C of N, where N is the number of toasters manufactured. Okay, so you got to pay for the materials, you got to create the product, all that good stuff. So what am I going to put together here? In fact, does anybody already have the function for C of N? Okay, Eli, you think you have it? What is it?
12,000 plus 10x.
Okay, there you go. So C of N, okay, is equal to, he says 12,000 plus, now he said 10x, I'm going to go ahead and put in 10n. I'm just going to keep the variables consistent. So it's true, okay, the initial startup is $12,000, okay, but where are you getting the 10 from?
So to produce 100 toasters, it's at $1,000.
Yeah.
Instead of producing 100.
There you go. I'll just put T for toasters. Okay, that's absolutely right. Okay, so using that little ratio right there, you can get 10 extra dollars for every toaster that's going to be produced on top of the initial setup. Okay, now it says determine the income or the revenue function R of N. Emily, do you happen to have that one?
Maybe.
Maybe.
The 10n minus 25 minus 12,000.
You're on the right track for what we're going to do at the end of the focus activity. Because it brings up a good question, is revenue profit? No. It contains the potential for profit, but revenue is simply the total amount of money that you're bringing in. But then you have to what? Subtract off the production costs, and hopefully whatever's left, that's going to be your profit. Okay, so how much are we selling the toasters for? 25. So just be 25 in, okay. So R of N is equal to 25 in. Okay, any questions on the equations? Okay. All right, well, the next part here wants me to go ahead and graph those on the same set of axes, everywhere from 0 to 1,500. Okay, so let's see, the first one, 25 in, I went ahead and counted these by ones, okay, like 100, 2, 3, 4, 500, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so that's 1,000, 11, 12, 13, 14. So there's the 1,500. I believe I counted the vertical axis by twos, okay, because we do want to be able to get to 37.5. Okay, so we're counting this by 2,000. So 4, 6, 8, 10,000, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20,000, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. Okay, 30,000. Okay, and what I did, because the problem said go ahead and put it in this interval from 0 to 1,500, I went ahead and connected the y-intercept to what 1,500 would be if I were to plug it into that particular function. Like, for example, C of n, was equal to, that's an N. Okay, was equal to the 10N plus 12,000, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and plug in 1,500 right there. Okay, so basically 1,500 times 10 plus 12,000. What's that going to end up giving me?
Oh, 15, so 15,000 plus 27,000.
27,000. Okay. So let's say here, this was 246, so halfway. Okay, so 27,000, and there's 1,500 right there. Now this one started at 12,000. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and connect those points, and that will be the cost function. Right there. Okay. All right. So that's C of N. Go ahead. And then let's go ahead and do the exact same thing for the 25N. So that one's starting at 0. Okay, that's our y-intercept, or our cost intercept, I guess I should say. And let's go ahead and do the same thing. If R of N is equal to 25N, let's plug in the 1,500. And in fact, this one actually just said a moment ago. 37,500. So 246. Okay, so 37,500. Okay, so probably right about here. Okay, when I go ahead and plug in that 1,500. So let's see. Let me go ahead and connect this again as well. And there we go. Okay. So this right here is the revenue function, R of N. Okay, would everybody agree? All right, now kind of think graphically about the situation. The cost is the money you have to put forward in order to make the product. The revenue is simply the amount of money that's brought in based on the sale of those items. What would this area right here represent for, say, the company? That would be a loss. Okay, definitely. Now, why is it a loss? There you go, because your cost is still higher than your money that you're bringing in, 25N. So what would this little area over here be? That's the profit. And what's this point of intersection right there? That's the break-even point. There we go. That's where you haven't lost any money, but also at the same time you haven't made any money. Okay. So that brings us to our next question. How many toasters need to be produced and sold in order to break even? Okay. Now we can tell graphically what? Okay, 750. Mine looks like it's right about what? Looks like it's right about 800. That's a horrible zero, but you see it. Okay. So graphically, I mean, that's all right. Again, it depends on how well you plotted your lines. How would I do this algebraically? Set them equal to each other. Okay. So let's see here. I'm going to take the revenue function, 25N, is equal to the cost function, 10N plus the 12,000. Interesting. Okay, if I go ahead and subtract that over, I'm looking at 15N is equal to 12,000. And what is 12,000 divided by 15? 8? 800. So it is 800 toasters. And it looks like mine was pretty exact. So I got to say that's awesome. Anybody else get their graph just as perfect? Okay, Spencer? All right. Okay. Feel good about that. All right. Okay, next up, E. Calculate the profit or loss made when 400 toasters are produced and sold. Okay. So what do I do here? Yeah, now here, see, this is what I was referring to a little while ago. We have to create a new equation because now we're talking about the potential for profit or loss, right? So I need to take the two equations that I have and subtract them. So the profit is going to equal the revenue minus the cost. Okay, and hopefully there's going to be something left over. All right, so let's see here. If I go ahead and take 25N and I subtract, okay, the 10N plus the 12,000. Oop, not 1,200. Okay. Well, in order to drop the parentheses, of course, I'm going to have to distribute that negative. So let's see, that's going to give me 15n minus 12,000. And see, that's more in line with what we're thinking, because if it's a loss, we would expect it to be negative, right? Okay. Okay. So now let's go ahead and plug in that 400. All right. I'll go ahead and call this P of n, okay, for my profit function. So P of 400 is equal to 1,500, 15 times 400 minus 12,000. Yeah, it has been a Friday in every sense of the word today. So I am glad it's Friday. So somebody help me out. 15 times 400 minus 12,000. Negative 6,000. Okay. So that means they're still at a loss for $6,000. They have not sold enough toasters yet. Okay. Well, let's see what happens if we go ahead and plug in the 1,500. So P for 1,500. 15 times 1,500 minus 12,000. This one will definitely give them a profit. If they sell 1,500 toasters, what would it be? Getting 10,500. Okay. All right. Any questions? Did anybody have it completely set up before we started? I do say I happen to like this particular focus activity better than the last one. Toast. Ah, there you go. Come on. The yeast you can do is laugh, Spencer. You got to admit, I'm on a roll here.
Oh my gosh.
Go. Okay. It just seems like the further we get in the year, it's like I'm that much less funny every day we come in. But that's okay. That's okay. All right, put that somewhere safe. You got 2 now. You'll get at least number 3 next week. Let's go ahead and take a look at our exit ticket.